Today's episode is supported by our friends at the Heinz History Center and their exhibit, Pittsburgh's Hidden History. All the curators got to bring up some of their favorite pieces, all from storage, and a lot of these items are on display for the very first time. You will see a mini dress made of aluminum, old menus from local restaurants, the nostalgia, and a spooky vampiress from an old Kennywood ride. It is such a cool peek into Pittsburgh's past and also the minds of our Heinz History Center curators. And remember, kids 17 and under get free admission to the museum every single day, thanks to the Cayman Free for Kids initiative. For more information and to plan your visit HeinzHistoryCenter.org. Today's episode is supported by the Frick Museum and Gardens. This is the final week to catch their exhibit, The Scandinavian Home, Landscape and Lore, so there's only a few days left to check out this cozy collection. The exhibit is full of magic thanks to princesses, gnomes, and other mythical creatures, so it's a great place to take your whole family. It's also the biggest private collection of Scandinavian art outside of Scandinavia, so there is a lot to browse, like furniture, paintings, sculpture, and more. The Fricks exhibit is the first time all of these objects have been publicly displayed together, so it's definitely worth spending a chilly winter day inside a warm and cozy gallery. This Sunday, January 11th, is your last chance to see the Scandinavian Home, Landscape and Lore. Get your tickets at thefrickpittsburgh.org. This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Okay, it has been such a week. I feel like we've lived 1,000 years in 2026 already. The new mayor got installed, says he wants to red up the city for the NFL draft in April. Of course, that is a reference to his late father, who was also a Pittsburgh mayor. It was from back in 2006 when Bob O'Connor passed away, father of Corey. Guys, I'm curious, if you could bring anything back from 2006, like Corey, what would you pick?
I was thinking about this before the show, and I think clear electronics. I had a green, clear iMac back in the day. That was like my computer that I did all my high school homework on. And I feel like we peaked as a society when you could see the guts of your Game Boy and your computer.
I really miss the Bloomfield Bridge Tavern, so I'd love to have that back. That place was the best, and it haunts me because I still see it.
You drive by the mural on the side of the building all the time. Didn't you just write about that too?
Yes, well, that's how much I miss it so much.
And the sign still says Janky Barroso for 32 years every time you go past.
I know, and it's like, come on, you're teasing us. It's like a weird apartment. They made it into like a weird apartment.
I mean, that's half of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Ryan Dito is a reporter for Axios Pittsburgh. You can read all about the tavern that was in Axios. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, guys.
And we're with Colin Williams, a journalist and writing instructor at Pitt. Also, this is going to be a fun one, the former news editor at City Paper. Colin, welcome. Man, what a week you've had.
Yes, indeed. It has been a long one.
If y'all missed it, we've had such a big week here in Pittsburgh. That's really where we're going to start today's show. We're going to talk about our new mayor and some of his campaign promises, his inauguration promises, the Pitt, heated rivalry, and some antics from our sports teams, plus what we're really excited about or totally dreading in 2026. But we got to kick it off with the loss of two news sources, two newspapers in the space of a single week. Colin, I mean, this started on New Year's Eve with you and with City Paper. What was that experience like for you?
It was sudden. Everything happened very suddenly. I mean, I think, there's a lot that I could say about this, some of which is probably not printable in most outlets, but...
This is not print.
but
I
will
understand.
Just say,
you say whatever you can say.
We're all just really bummed. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the biggest loss is, obviously we lost our jobs. Obviously, we lost our ability to do some of the reporting that we were doing, which I, took a lot of pride in. But it's a real loss for the city. And I think just having this diminished information ecosystem in the current political environment is a problem. And I will say, like, on the sort of silver lining side of this stuff, the support that we've received from the community, the outpouring of messages that we've gotten, the support that we got on our GoFundMe, the things that I'm reading on Reddit and online, is a little bit of sort of soothing balm after we got pretty badly burned, I would say, by the powers that be.
And the powers that be are Block Communications. They were the owner of City Paper for the last few years. They bought it in 2023. Of course, City Paper has a nice long legacy, 34 years. They were doing just fine before the Blocks, unfortunately. But then a week later, we get this news about the Post-Gazette. They're not going to shut it down that day like they did with you and City Paper, Colin, but there's a 4-month runway, and it's not known yet. It's not in any of the stories I've seen whether they like shopped it around. Ryan, what's your takeaway with this? Because like I'm reading the news and I'm just like blown away that these capitalist brothers wouldn't try to sell the thing before just being like, peace, we're done.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe they did. I'm with you guys. I haven't seen it reported anywhere. But it is odd. It's also an odd selling strategy if you still want to sell it, to basically announce that you've lost 350 million or 250, whatever it is. Hey, we're useless. Want to buy us? So it seemed really sudden. I mean, my main takeaway from this is that it was, I think behind the scenes, they had been thinking about it, right? I think there were some reports about board changing up a little bit with some new family members that were on the board.
One brother tried to oust the other brother.
Right. So there was drama there. And so it kind of felt like maybe there was something under the surface. And then they had been threatening for a while that they were going to shut it down if the strikers came back. And, the news to me is that it was...
Well, I don't think it was if the strikers came back. It was if the court continued to side with the strikers.
Correct. Right. Which led to the strikers came back. But yes, it was if the court continued to side with them. And then there was a court decision...
in the morning.
That said that they lost again. And then it was like hours later that they decided to do it. So I think... it seems like my take is that it was building behind the scenes, and then they just decided to pull the plug. I mean, it seems like almost a lot because of that, court decision. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, and the Blocks, God, I feel like they have outsized reputations here. If you, at least in the media sphere, I don't know how much regular people are like aware of them and some of the garbage things that they have been responsible for that is attributed to them, at least. There's a really interesting piece in Nieman Lab. We'll link it in our show notes that details a few of those things. But I'll also shout out a piece by Virginia Montanez of Pit Girl fame. She's been on the show a bunch, but she wrote a long open letter. She's kind of known for her open letters to people, but this one might be her most scathing yet. Just a quick line talking about the Blocks. You create nothing. You leave nothing. You are parasites who are no longer welcome in Pittsburgh, where we now have to mourn that which you murdered. It's a rich text.
I mean, shame on them for what they did to local media. It is kind of a disgrace that we're without a paper of record that has a 238-year legacy. And I will say, I think Virginia said what a lot of us in media have been thinking and feeling for some time regarding this organization's effect on our industry. I mean, they've done incalculable damage. They have basically destroyed kind of the heart of Pittsburgh media in some ways. And so, what we do next, I think, is up to all of us. I think, we in media have obviously a responsibility to keep doing this work. But one of the things that I think this all reveals is, the old ways of journalism are well and truly dead. And it's not always the fault of people who are in charge. But in this particular case, I did not personally see a lot of positive signs that the outlets that they owned were heading toward a sustainable future. So, I don't know that we could even call this all that surprising at the end of the day. It's just extremely disappointing, and I think is going to do some permanent damage to Pittsburghers' ability to get the information they need.
I said this yesterday on our show, like it's my fervent hope that our nonprofit community, our foundations, get their act together. They've all been talking about this for a long time. Like, what if you switch to a model like the Inquirer, who made that transition, I will point out, under the man who is now the executive editor at the Post-Gazette. Like, the pieces are in place. Our foundation community just has to, get it done. And I understand they probably don't want to fund something in perpetuity, but they could provide a runway. for an organization to be built from the ashes of this. I just hope they do it fast, because we are about to hemorrhage talent at that place. 150 people on editorial, who knows how many elsewhere. Public Source tried to put some numbers on it. I want as many of those folks, many of them very good friends of all of us, to stay here, to keep telling Pittsburgh stories. There's so much history. And the archives, too. What's going to happen to the archives of City Paper? That has to be preserved, maybe migrated, but also celebrated. Like, there's some fun, ridiculous, but also very, like, important work that needs to be saved and savored.
Well, to anybody listening to this, I can assure you that we are working very hard behind the scenes to preserve a physical and digital archive of all of City Paper's work. We've been in touch with multiple parties who can take kind of charge of this and preserve what we've done, over 34 years of work. So that is an active process. Those archives will be saved. And I will just add on to what you were saying, Megan. If you're a philanthropist listening to this, this is a great moment for you to make a huge difference in Pittsburgh. There are so many well-heeled foundations in this city, and I know some of them have a mandate to work in media and to work in the information space. And so if that's you, if you're an ED or if you are a development manager and you're thinking about ways to do some grant making, there is an opportunity here that probably won't come around again for many years. Hopefully won't come around again for many years.
Yeah. But God, what a cool opportunity this could be to like shepherd it in to a new, much more stable era, even with a digital focus. I'm excited. Excited is a weird word in this moment, but like there's a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
And that's like what I'm clinging to in this moment. We will move on. The week started Monday with a big day for our new mayor, Mayor-elect Corey O'Connor, who's now official. He gave a big speech at the Carnegie Music Hall in Oakland. Of course, that's where he mentioned Red Up. Colin, you were probably resting. Ryan, did you go to this thing?
I was there, yeah.
Okay. What was your takeaway? Like, it was a surprising amount of heckling and roasting of prior mayors and attendees.
Yeah, there were a lot of jokes. A comedian was there, was the MC. That was funny, honestly. Really funny lines. Corey had a joke, too, about the Ravens. He poked some fun at the Ravens because they missed that kick and the Steelers went to the playoffs.
Yeah, there was a mention of holy water at one point.
Yes.
The comedian, I think, that you're talking about is Bill Crawford.
Bill Crawford, correct. Yeah. Formerly at WDV. Yeah.
We'll play a clip of what he said about the former mayors.
I know what the mayors are thinking up there. They're all thinking, yeah, it's fun and games until he tries to do something nice for the city and everybody starts complaining. See what happens when he tries to bring Lazarus back downtown to revitalize the department stores, right? Mayor Murphy? Or God forbid you try to buy 250 nice trash cans. Right, Mayor Luke? Put in a couple bike lanes. Make our city more walkable, right, Mayor Peduto? Maybe you get a little bit excited when there's a Shake Shack coming to the terminal in the Strip District. Am I right, Mayor Gainey? Let's see what happens then.
I was just as excited as Mayor Gainey for that Shake Shack. I just want to say,
Mayor Gainey loves a chain restaurant.
Yo, we needed that Shake Shack, man. It's crazy. Everyone else had one. Cleveland had one for a decade. We can't have a Shake Shack. Come on, let us have one.
Well, at least we have IKEA, right? That's one thing we've got on Cleveland.
That's true. Take that, Cleveland, losers.
So that was the pomp and circumstance. His first official day was Tuesday. They had a media blitz like all day long. I'm so stoked they brought back the public schedule. That was like the norm for Peduto and folks before him. But it hasn't been a thing since Mayor Gainey's been around. I understand like the security of it, but like it's really helpful to see who the mayor's meeting with and like have that level of transparency.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm glad to see that back. I mean, they did pretty regular press releases with Gainey, but then it was the kind of thing where you kind of had to be there and take notes that way. So I think that's an important step back towards some transparency there.
Yeah. Ryan, what did you make of some of the campaign promises that he reiterated, I guess, during his speech? It was pretty short.
Yeah, it's pretty run-of-the-mill kind of new mayor speech a little bit. Like, hey, let's like talk about positivity. I mean, I appreciate that because, we all love to complain in Pittsburgh. And sometimes we go a little overboard. So, I did like that. But I mean, yeah, kind of run-of-the-mill. But I mean, I don't know about run-of-the-mill, but I just kind of expected. Public safety was a big thing. I think that was something that we all want to, I guess, feel safer. But I really think kind of building up to the draft was a huge thing, which totally makes sense because it really is going to be a huge thing. And talking about, building more, I think it was kind of like it had like YIMBY kind of undertones, I guess. But I wouldn't say they were like super strong, but they were there,
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I saw him get some criticism for was that line about how everyone should get to feel safe walking around downtown.
While we address our financial challenges, we at the same time need to improve public safety. Because public safety is not a statistic. It is a feeling you have when you walk down the street. I want every resident and visitor to our great city to feel safe in every community, from the West End to the East End, from the North Side to the South Side.
I understand what he meant in context, but I've also seen a lot of people pissed about putting feelings over data.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's one of the toughest things to do because, I mean, the criticism about crime started, at least, since I've been here, really started under Peduto, really, right? And
that's hilarious to me. I feel like everyone has always complained about crime, like forever. That's a perennial one.
Basically always, right? Yes, always. But yes. And so it is kind of this perennial thing. And so, but there was declining crime that started under Peduto, and the same with Gainey. And I mean, there's a little bump there in the during the pandemic, but it went right back down under Gainey.
Well, now homicides are down nationwide, and no one seems to understand why.
Oh, and we have one of the biggest declines too. Like our declines are huge, and not just the city, the county too. Like we really have this massive decline, and so, but people are still feeling a certain way. One, because it usually is brought up in the media a lot, and so. Yes, that it was kind of a nod to being like, well, we still want to do more to make sure everyone feels safe. But it also is like sort of acknowledging, but sort of ignoring the idea that, well, it has gotten better.
Yeah, I think it was also the who gets to decide whether they feel safe. And if I take him the highest possible road, I assume he means everyone, right? I mean, that was a line going into a little piece about how they want to do more, they want to do better. And later on the next day, he led a tour downtown where I guess he pointed out a bunch of stuff. The Trib had a write-up about it where he's like, this sidewalk is cracked. This sign is broken. We can clean up this graffiti, not a mural, but just random spray paint, that kind of thing. We can do more as a city to make things look better. I get it, but I also understand not the greatest look, because it does sound like you mean rich white people. That's what it sounds like.
To me, one of the things that I am curious to see how this evolves over the course of his administration is it does feel like there's a little bit of lip service to that kind of broken windows thinking. One of the things actually very interestingly that came up shortly before City Paper closed was that O'Connor had talked a lot about getting rid of the free paper boxes around downtown as one way to sort of clean up the streets. And I think it's going to be interesting, I guess, to see kind of how he balances data with vibes, because I think a lot of the narrative around a dangerous downtown Pittsburgh has been driven by vibes and not by statistics.
Yeah, I feel like Peduto was a big vibes guy, but he also got us a lot of attention. So it would be nice to marry some of the statistics that Gainey managed to achieve with the good attention that Peduto would sometimes bring. I want both. Is that too much to ask?
Well, and I think, too, one of the things that really has been a big part of the vibes downtown is the 500 and 500 program from the county. And so a good working relationship between Innamorato and O'Connor is going to be really important to continue that work. And all signs point to them having a pretty decent working relationship as far as we've seen.
And this is totally selfish, but I'm also really excited about the idea of focusing on families to some extent, in part just because it would grow the city if young people are around more, but building housing so that families will choose Pittsburgh. He said, I want Pittsburgh to be every family's first choice. I would say that is not currently the case if you were looking at putting a kid in a school district.
Yeah, and that's some of that is out of his reach, right? Because school district has a reputation, they're struggling.
They are, and I know Gainey was super involved with the school district to some extent, but I also I want there to be more. Yeah. I don't know what a city can do. I hope somebody can answer that for me.
I want that too. I think you need to build new houses, I think, is a one thing, because a lot of people who move around here, even within that region, they move to where the new housing is. I mean, that's what you see in Cranberry and North Hills, that there's brand new housing up there. That's what most people want. So yeah, new housing has a big effect, and obviously schools have a huge effect. So whatever O'Connor can do to focus on the schools, but mayors have tried for a long time, and it hasn't always been successful. So, but that I agree that I'm excited about that rhetoric too. I mean, I want more families in the city too. I want people to realize that the city doesn't have to just be a playground that you come in and out of. It should be a place that you live and work and play, and that's what I do. And it's great.
Yeah, just ask us.
Yeah, right.
Well, I super agree. And actually, like, one early test of this in the Strip District is going to be, there's, Strip District Business Association and some other actors are pushing back against this relatively tall condo building that was proposed for the Woolies site. And so some of those like moments of proving, like, can we speed up the developing process? Can we create different kinds of housing? And for me personally, can we create a missing middle is a really big question here, because there's a lot of high density housing, there's a lot of low density housing way out in the suburbs, but the city could really use some infill that's maybe not, a 14-story condo building, but helps kind of make things affordable and create places for families to live within city limits.
Yeah, and a lot more on his to-do list. Some of the stuff he talked about during the campaign. Ryan, you wrote about this for Axios a while back, but like getting the big five to pay some amount of taxes or to pay for things. Installing a police chief, I know, is like top of mind. There was some discussion Tuesday in the cabinet meeting, like the first ever one. Like, do we have to do the chief first, or do we have to do the public safety director first? It's hilarious to me that they weren't actually sure. But, of course, he's named both. So we're just waiting on the official word. And dealing with vacant property, which I think could be part of that housing discussion.
That's such a tough one. It's going to take a huge overhaul, right? I think Mayor Gainey talked about doing this, but then...
And he did get the land bank moving, exactly. Which is better than we've ever done.
He got it moving. He kind of waited to the end of his term, which I think might have been hurt him a little bit in terms of campaigning and stuff. But that's really... I mean, if I were mayor... That'd be the first thing I'd do. I'd be like, I don't care about anything else. I'm getting this done because I know it's going to take a long time. And I know, you really got to change these things because, we have an opportunity. I think that was another thing that, Connor talked about, and a lot of people are talking about, is that there's an opportunity right now. And we've been talking that there's an opportunity for 2 decades here, right? But it does feel a little bit different right now. I mean, one, we are actually seeing our population start to grow again. I didn't expect that. That's mainly because
of immigrants.
It's immigrants, and also because of the Strip District, to be honest. I mean, the Strip District population is
very high dollar
it's tenfold than what it used to be. Yeah. So it's that's where people are moving. It's we had a couple thousand people. Our immigrants are always our backbone of our growth, and then that was the other thing that pushed us over the top. And then I don't know. I think with we're starting to sell ourselves differently, and we're gonna get so much more attention from the draft, and it feels a little differently than before. So maybe that's nothing. Maybe it's just another good feeling vibes kind of thing. But I don't know. You got to run with it. You got to try something, because we got to turn things. We got to, in terms of growing our population, turn around.
I feel like there really has been a tangible shift, and this is just pure anecdotal, not actually database at all. But one thing that I've noticed is on Pittsburgh Reddit, there has been quite a bit of posting about I'm moving here, or I just moved here, or I'm considering moving to Pittsburgh. And it's every day there are multiple posts of this. And it's people coming from Seattle, from New York, from overseas, from all these different places. It feels like, even if obviously there's some demographic shifts that aren't so positive, we've had our Black population has dropped in recent years as we have kind of gotten more expensive. So that's obviously an issue worth addressing. But there has been a palpable, I think, narrative shift outside of Pittsburgh. Correct. That this is a place worth moving to and not just some former steel town.
Yeah. I wrote about this and that I totally agree with you that there's just people who are just weren't really aware of Pittsburgh before, and now they're just moving here and they don't really have connections to the area. For a decade ago, when we saw people coming back, it was boomerangs, right? It was people who grew up here and then lived somewhere else, and then they came back. And so that was the first wave. And now we're really starting to get, I think, the pressure from other high cost cities. They're too expensive, right? They're crazy expensive, way more expensive than we are. And so they're kind of being oh, Pittsburgh is kind of neat, and it's relatively affordable compared to those other cities. And so I think we're starting to see that. So it does feel like there's that opportunity, but again, got to capitalize.
Yeah. I mean, after the week we've had, I'll take vibes. Good vibes sound great. Today's show is brought to you by PA Preferred. PA Preferred makes it easy to choose local and support the farmers who grow and make the food and the products that we rely on every day. It's Pennsylvania's official brand for local, and they say the variety is incredible. Pennsylvania is not just dairy and sweet corn. We are the #1 mushroom-producing state in the country. We've got apples, hops, honey, maple syrup, flowers, even fibers from alpacas and sheep, plus jams, preserves, hardwood products, craft beverages, dog treats, ice cream. If you love it, chances are a Pennsylvania farmer or maker is behind it. If you want to find PA Preferred products near you, start at papreferred.com. You can search for farms, farmers markets, and local producers in your neighborhood. And with the 2026 Pennsylvania Farm Show coming up, it's the perfect time to explore everything our ag community has to offer. This year's theme, Growing a Nation, celebrates how Pennsylvania agriculture has shaped America, and you can see it all at the Farm Show in Harrisburg. I have never been. I have always wanted to go. 6,000 animals, the iconic food court, demos from top PA chefs at the Culinary Connection, and of course, that butter sculpture. Choose local, choose PA Preferred. Visit papreferred.com. That's papreferred.com. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars. Okay, we're going to switch gears here, talk a little bit about sports and also things we are excited about or dreading. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of hoping y'all lean more towards the former than the latter. We're going to start with the Steelers. This was Sunday night. We played an enormous game against one of our fiercest rivals, Baltimore. Oh my God, like I was not okay after that game.
I was screaming. We were jumping up and down and hugging each other here in this house.
We should have lost. We did not.
Oh my goodness. When that field goal went wide, it really did feel like, divine intervention. Like there was just an extra little puff of wind that helped the ball sail past the upright.
If you're a Pittsburgher on the internet, you have seen the clips of the kick. Even if you don't care about the Steelers, you are probably aware that we won a big game. We are now in the playoffs. But the divine intervention part, Ryan, you covered it for Axios.
Yeah, it's so funny. There was a viral clip. There was a priest from Latrobe.
Hours before the game, priest from Latrobe coming to bless the field with holy water, shaking it all over. And not just the field, the end zone. The end zone where Baltimore would later kick.
Apparently it was both end zones, by the way.
Oh, was it? That's funny.
Yeah, so there's a little myth busting here that has to be
No,
done.
that's good. I didn't know that. So it worked on one end, but it did not work on the other. Because the whole reason we were in a pickle is because our kicker, who is one of the most reliable in the NFL, Chris Boswell, missed an extra point.
Right.
I saw someone online joke that the priest's name was Father Shank from St. Vincent's. So by that token, if he blessed both end zones, we did have a shank on either side.
He was making sure there were shanks. God is equal, He's very egalitarian.
I feel like that's one of those examples that my grandmother would say, like, you got to be more specific with your prayers, like.
So he blessed the field, and then they missed the kick. NBC has video of him blessing the field, and so they're like, oh, he blessed the end zone where it missed, which is true, he did. But when it comes down to it, I talked to the I got some comment from the Steelers, and they always have one of these
every game.
Not every game, before resodding, basically, and so they usually do it before resodding. So basically, got a new.
You mean after?
Sorry, after. So you have new grass.
Bless
field.
the old grass.
Exactly, have new grass field. So they bless the field for the safety of the players and for celebration and stuff like that. Remember, the Steelers owners, the Rooneys, are extremely Catholic, super Catholic, and
Irish Catholic,
yes,
famously.
Yes, and so they bless the field. They've done this for forever, really, ever since Heinz Acrisure has existed. They've always done this, and so it's just so funny. So it really was just kind of a normal thing. They just happened to bless the field before this game. They blessed the field earlier this year too, because they resawed it after they played the Browns, I think. Yes. And
I feel like that's grass you need to get rid of after we played the Browns this year.
Yeah,
they got rid of it, but they blessed that, and then they lost to the Packers. So it's not necessarily like this one-to-one thing, but it made for a fun story for sure. I mean, like, super fun. Everyone's enjoying it, so it's great. It's also cool to know that we bless the field. I think that's like a very Pittsburgh Catholic tradition. That's kind of cool.
1,000%. So we play the Texans on Monday Night Football, another late game. It's going to make for a fun Tuesday for literally the whole city. I don't know. Any short predictions from Jens?
I'm feeling good. I know there's
the Texans
so much
have a
pressure.
much better record.
They're better. They got a a killer defense, but there's so much pressure on the Steelers because they haven't won a playoff game since 2017. So it's like everybody just wants us to win a playoff game to give us a little bit of like, look, we're legit, So, but I don't know. I guess maybe it's divine intervention, or I think the matchup's okay. I think the matchup's okay. Like CJ Stroud, he struggles sometimes. I think if TJ Watt can get home to him a little bit, I think I like our chances. I'll say that.
Okay. I think it's going to come down, for my money at least, it's going to come down to if Watt and Hayward are going to be healthy enough. Because somebody was reporting, I think in Sports Illustrated or The Athletic, that they were like kind of, running on fumes a little bit.
Everybody got beat the hell up during that game.
The whole Watt lung injury too was just so unfortunate. And then DK Metcalf's suspension had a big impact. So I think what I'm looking for is to see if TJ Watt can do TJ Watt things. I want to see some high kicking. And if
some
we
more
can
brotherly shoving, where they bring the defensive player out to shove his offensive player brother into the end zone.
That is a beautiful thing that American football and American football alone can provide. But the other thing I'm going to really look for is if we can get some more of those just like absolute dimes to DK. Because Rodgers and him have had a lot of good chemistry on the field. And it feels like if DK and Gainwell can do what they've been doing when they've, been kind of on fire this season, we stand a pretty good chance, I think.
I love that we've turned this into a sports podcast for like just a second. It's going to be fun. That's Monday night. This week, we have gotten to celebrate not one, but two shows on HBO Max that like have a Pittsburgh connection, one of them much more than the other. First and foremost, The Pitt is back, season 2. Folks who listen to the show have heard us talk a lot about what we liked and did not about season 1. As we're recording this, we have not yet seen the season opener for season 2, but what do Ians think? Everybody knows my predictions. What do you think you're going to see?
I'm hoping for more Pittsburgh references, and from what I have read in previews, they have been working very diligently to incorporate more of those into the show. So
I want a furry.
There's a furry. There is a furry. There is a furry reference. Yeah, no.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
How do you know? How do you know there's a furry?
Because the Trib reported it. Yeah, because Rob Owen spoke to the thing, and they said that there's an Anthrocon reference. I don't know if there's be a furry in the show, but there will be a reference. They might mention it. I don't know. That's all I know, but that's confirmed. Okay.
I mean, I don't want anything even fictionalized to hurt our furry community, but I want to pay homage.
So you gotta have a furry reference. Come on. I mean, like that's the whole idea.
Okay, Ryan, thank you.
Yeah,
this is the important news I need.
That's what they got. You read the Axios newsletter.
Sorry, man. We also got a note from a listener from, I guess a couple weeks ago now, who was letting us know they were disappointed in us at CityCast for not noticing that in the teaser trailer, which is like the first minute of the first episode, there's a Clark song blaring the entire time. I didn't catch it. I'm so sorry.
This is also. I think I tweeted this out actually when it first went. I was like, well, when I'm not a huge Clarks fan, so when I heard it, I was like, oh, that sounds familiar, because they kind of sound like Blink-182 a little bit, like the Clarks do, and I was like, oh, but that's not Blink, I know that, and then I was like, I think that's a Clark song, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, man, what a pull, do a Clark song right at the start. Yeah, it's great, going over the bridge, it's awesome,
incredible.
Yeah,
we need to get like Joe Grishecki in a cameo scene, just like sitting there like playing a guitar for the other patients in the waiting room.
Well, shout out to Carrie W. We appreciate you doing the important work over here. Also, kind of impressed by the show team, because earlier this week they brought out a coffee truck in front of Allegheny General just to say thank you, like a free truck for coffee. Good for them.
Good stuff.
Well, let's talk about heated rivalry. Have either of y'all watched the gay hockey show yet?
I have not. No.
I have not.
What?
Sorry.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm not wasting this on you two.
That's probably smart.
You sweet, smart, straight boys. We'll save this one for our internal team. I'm so disappointed in you both. You should watch it.
I did see an incredible embroidered hat that said the illegal coup in Venezuela really killed my vibes from the gay hockey show.
That was very funny. I did see that too.
That's fair. However, I think it will give you hope for humanity. And also it's very fun to imagine. The whole thing with heated rivalry is that it's based in part, according to the author who talked to the Post-Gazette, on Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin. Just drawing some parallels. Is an interesting experience.
That is a fan fiction for the ages.
While watching this show.
Wow, that's quite a take. Yeah.
Okay. You two have homework, first of all. I'll save this one for later.
Ovechkin is not handsome enough for that. I just gotta say.
No, I was just thinking that.
He's got a face that.
I think they have all their teeth on the show.
Sid the Kid, obviously, yes.
Cute. The quote unquote Russian character is very attractive. They took some liberties. Although the kid's from Texas, the accent's great though. In other hockey news, the Penguins over the break were sold, which I feel like is like pretty big news. Fenway out of Boston sold them to the Hoffman family group. I'm hopeful that that means that like some nice new stuff could be coming our way. If nothing else, like, you know, some hope to win something in the postseason at some point.
It's interesting, like the family that made a play for the Pens is like a relatively unknown quantity, and they don't really own a whole lot of, like their sports footprint is relatively small compared to some of these other groups. Fenway, you know, they've been involved in a bunch of different teams. I'm pretty sure they have a stake in Liverpool or one of the Premier League teams. But when this news broke, the first thing I did was kind of look up what else they'd been doing. And I guess it's almost like they've kind of used real estate money to just recently start getting into sports. So they also own Lancaster's independent minor league baseball team, and they own I think an ECHL team, but this is their first major league sports team. And so, you know, it's going to be kind of cool to see if they're going to be big spenders, if they're going to maybe be a little bit more proactive, a little bit more hands-on when it comes to talent acquisition. I mean, you know, the Pens are in this sort of managed decline, I think is one way you could put it, where we've got Sid the Kid getting older, Malkin's contract is running up. So whether they undertake a rebuild or spend big on talent, you know, there are a lot of open questions around this ownership group. And I think maybe some cause for cautious optimism.
And not just the ownership group too, even just like the physical space, which I think like kind of flew under the radar at the end of last year. Like the land all around the arena reverted back to the city. So like when we talked to Gainey at the end of the year, he was like, that's the biggest opportunity in the whole city right now is those 28 acres around what used to be the Civic Arena, what's now where the team plays.
Yeah, and it's just that this going so slow, you know. I mean, it's crazy.
I know, but
mean,
it is a lot of land in the middle of the city.
It is, and we're starting to see some progress. I wrote about this. What we kind of look forward to this year is that the new music venue should be done there.
The Live Nation spot, yeah, next to that skyscraper they built, the First National Bank.
Yeah, at the Wiley, and so that's kind of like the skyscraper was the first piece, and then now we get this new music venue, and so. I think that is, you know, development does kind of take off that way. It's usually like you kind of roll a boulder. And so it's like one thing happens, another thing happens, and then hopefully you get a few other things. So personally, I'd like to see it not a giant parking lot.
I think it would be criminal for them not to build housing there. I mean, it's been talked about for so long. And
yeah, well, no, I mean, that's the plan. Yeah. So it's just about finding someone who, you know, can do that. And I think that's like gonna happen, but they just got to find someone to do it, basically. So that's what we're waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, O'Connor has an opportunity there to really create a legacy. I think that's probably the biggest sort of showpiece that is available to him, in this first term. And if he can get something done that, you know, other mayors have not been able to get done, I think that would be a really big feather in his cap.
Yeah, well, and speaking of boulders, we'll stick with the stone references. Last sports thing, I swear, the Bucko Brick. The Bucko Brick is the story that just keeps on going. Somebody wrote into radio guy, I think that's fair, Colin Dunlap with like the replacement Bucko Brick that this guy's family received. Oh my God.
Yeah, basically the Pirates asked them a question like, "Hey, we can't really find your brick.
What did
can
it
you
say?
Give us a little info on us? Here, let me pull it up."
I'm just imagining like a hand cast brick that says sorry with a frowny emoticon.
Well, he basically just like asked the question. He's like that, like he wasn't sure. So he sent an email to the Pirates, said unsure, but it had William Bradford's name on it. And then they send him a brick back that literally just says that verbatim. Unsure, but it had William Bradford's name on it. And it's like, I don't know if it was like somebody not doing their job well. Maybe they were relying on AI, and it's just like, well, just whatever, go through it or something like that.
This was the submission.
And it's it's quite.
That is wild. That is like those cake decorating memes that you see where it's like, this is what I told them to put on the cake, and they just literally put that on the cake.
That's exactly right. And it's just like the Pirates, like, I think the Pirates and everybody, I think, maybe not everybody, but fans didn't underestimate it. But I think the Pirates and anyone, a layperson who has no idea, underestimated how much these bricks mean to people. Like, it is.
They're in memoriam bricks that people paid like $75, $100 for years ago, and they just quietly got rid of them, in case you missed the story. A TV station found them in a dump site.
Well, they
And
have gotten rid of them many times before. This
They
is
have.
also a little myth busting before,
They
too.
have.
Is that they
but
have
not
because
quite in this way, and they certainly haven't gotten this much attention.
Well, maybe they would have if someone just noticed. I think it was just the intrepidness of the WTAE or whoever it was that, and PXI, I can't remember, who found it. But yeah, the bricks were on the sidewalk on the ground, so people stepping on them, and years and years go by. There's too much wear and tear on them. You got to replace them, and then they did that, but again, didn't tell anybody, so it became this huge thing. And now they're replacing them on a wall instead, so that they don't get stepped on, and that people can look at them. But now we have this, so it is the gift that keeps on giving. To be honest,
It's crazy.
It is so classically Pirates. I mean, just the way that the team has been unable to get out of their own way on this matter is really, it just distills, I think, a lot of the frustrations fans have had with the team in the past couple decades.
We are back, and we've had a change up, a pinch hitter. Producer Sophia Lowe is here because our buddy Ryan had to run and go check out Governor Josh Shapiro, who, as we're recording, is in town today to announce his re-election in Pittsburgh. He and Austin Davis are doing an event in Pittsburgh on Thursday, 1 p.m., and then by 6 p.m. they're in Philly doing the same darn thing. I like that they came here first.
Woo, me too. We should always be first. But, I'm here because I cannot miss neighbor shout outs, one of my favorite parts of the show. And today we have a shout out from Fred D. He is shouting out Knossos Gyro in Dormont. And he says specifically, do not miss the pierogi gyro. I have never heard of that. Very curious to see what that looks like.
I feel like that's right up your alley because you love carbs on carbs.
I do love carbs on carbs. So thank you so much, Fred. I'm excited to check this out.
That is a marriage of two wonderful things.
Honestly, you can become a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor and send us your shout out, a favorite local business, a nonprofit, an event, a sandwich that you really love. Anytime you can join today at membership.citycast.fm. And thank you so much to all of our new neighbors. We've had a bunch join since the new year. And also this week, I think the shakeup with City Paper and with the Post-Gazette has rattled some folks. And whatever reason you're here, we really appreciate it. Sarah W.G., David F., Michael C., Patrick C., Stacy F., Rachel T., Stephanie S., Tammy O., Emily R., and Sally N. Thank you so much for being here and for showing support in local journalism. It really does mean the world.
Yes, and I will be looking out for your shout outs. Please send them in.
All right, last thing today, some stuff to look forward to or to completely dread, to be aware of in the new year. I'm curious, Colin, what you are maybe most excited about. Let's start with the happy. What are you excited about in 2026?
Yeah, I was going to say the list of things to dread is a little long at the moment, but I will say I'm really happy about a lot of things that are coming to Pittsburgh in 2026. I mean, Ryan already shouted out the fact that the draft is going to be a BFD, shall we say. There's going to be a lot of people here. It's a great opportunity to show off the city.
Yeah, he had a full-throated endorsement that it's going to be huge. In particular, he said because he feels like people don't understand what Pittsburgh is, which I think is sort of a funny observation. Like he said, he's had friends that didn't know it was hilly. Like it just had no conception of Pittsburgh. And I'm sure he's right.
That part is weird to me, but I do agree that when I bring new people to Pittsburgh, they're shocked about how, pretty it is because, every story nationally starts with us being a gritty steel town.
Yeah, that's the thing I always hear from my friends who are here for the first time is this place is so beautiful. I didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, man, why do you think we keep living here?
We stay here. Yeah. And Ryan said, not only like just our existing beauty, but also like new airport, new parks, just like our skyline generally with or without the new stuff that, this could be a cool opportunity with all the B-roll and how much they're going to hype us up. I got to be honest, I'm a teensy bit skeptical of that just because like I'm a sports fan and I've never paid that much attention to the draft before. But he's right. Like 500,000 people are probably going to be here. And for those that care, they will be watching this a lot. So it will reach eyes. I just don't know if I'm skeptical of it reaching like non-sports people eyes.
Well, I think one of the things here is this is not necessarily a good thing for our country writ large, but sports betting has become a big deal. Fantasy sports have become a big deal. Ooh. I think that has the potential to get a lot of people paying attention who have invested some money in this or who are, betting on the outcomes of the draft. But to get back to what I'm excited about for this too, I think for the people who are in the city, like whether they're here for the draft or otherwise, downtown is going to look a lot different in 2026. We've got the Arts Landing opening up. The Three Rivers Arts Festival will presumably be there for the first time. There's now a band shell rising over that building site, and they're supposedly ahead of schedule on construction. So there are going to be a lot of new public spaces that I think are going to be really beautiful. And they'll be open for all these occasions that are coming up in the new year. Besides the draft, we'll also have the Carnegie International, we'll have Anthrocon, we'll have all these other conventions that cycle through.
Anthrocon's something to be excited about every year, though.
Oh, absolutely.
And the Carnegie International is something to be excited about. I know that's on your bucket list, Sophia.
Yes, this comes every 4 years. I saw the brief end of it when I just came into Pittsburgh, and it was super cool. So I'm really excited to see what they cook up this year.
It's like a big themed art exhibition, but people from all over the world come here to our art museum to see it.
Yeah, it is very cool. And I will once again plug, if you're into art, this is the year you should get a Carnegie Museums membership. It gets you into all 4 of the museums. So if you go to each one of them even one time, you usually break even.
Yeah, I struggle with this every single time. Art, natural history, science.
Warhol.
What am I missing? Thank you.
Yeah, that's going to be, and the Science Center will also, they're sprucing up some of their exhibits. The Warhol Museum has had some really great exhibitions come through there in the last couple of years. So that's a really cool opportunity to see some great art. The International has brought just some really spectacular installation pieces and some really young contemporary artists to Pittsburgh. So, and it always looks so different every year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Megan, what about you? What are you excited for or dreading? I haven't heard a lot of dread yet, which is good, not to bring it to the negative.
Well, I'll do bad news, good news. I am dreading the election cycle. I feel like I have not recovered from our last one, all of 2025. And just again, as we're recording, knowing that Shapiro is about to announce, and then we have to endure a midterm election later this year. And I mean, the governor's race, at least at this moment, seems pretty safe for Democrats, but it's just going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of mailers, a lot of TV. I just am not looking forward to that. But I am excited about Punchki, which hit shelves again this week. It's great. It's one of the best things about January in Pittsburgh.
They're like folded pastry cookies with a fruit filling, right? Am I
kind of? I think of them more as donut-y, personally.
Yeah, more like jelly donut kind of things. Right?
Kind of, yeah. I think there are purists that would be offended by that
I'm
description.
sorry, everyone.
And not just jelly. There can be custard and stuff, too. I've definitely had some chocolate-filled ones. So if you're not a fruit person, there are many options out there for you.
Yeah, in particular, I will shout out some South Hills bakeries, literally any of them. They have some wild flavors. We've got a whole roundup on our website at pittsburgh.citycast.fm. But part of the reason to be very happy about Punchki season is that it means fish fry season is almost upon us. And once again, one of the best things in Pittsburgh winter.
My former role at the Incline had a lot to do with fish fries because we would publish a fish fry calendar and there were different stories of fish fries in the Incline. That's something that I feel like unites Pittsburghers of all stripes and really all religions as well. Even though that's often kind of associated as a Catholic celebration, I feel like most Pittsburghers are down for some fish fry.
Yeah, so every Friday, church halls, VFWs, every really honestly senior citizens group just about has a fish fry of some kind, like moose and elks and things like that. And you can go check it out, get a nice huge meal for little and nothing, and know you're supporting the community. It's so fun. And they also don't skip on pierogi or desserts. Find out what the ladies in the kitchen spent all weekend working on. That's what you want to order every time.
This year's the year I finally want to go to the Elks Lodge for a night.
The Allegheny Elks on the north side?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good time. Show up early, though. That line literally wraps around the entire building, but it's worth it. Fat Tuesday this year is February 17th. That's Mardi Gras or the end of Carnival, if that's your thing. But that Friday will be our first fish fry, and it'll go clear until Easter.
I'll shout out Yavor Croatian Hall on the north side for a particularly good fish fry as well. I went there last year and it was great. So there are options galore throughout the city.
You can't go wrong.
You really can't go wrong.
Yeah, and actually there's an interactive map that a friend of the pod, Holland B, puts together every year too. We will link it in the show notes. I'm sure they are still fact checking at this point. It's a whole team of coding volunteers that make sure that the fish fries are still open and what they're going to serve and do they have gluten-free options and all the things. You can separate them out. It's such a public service, but we'll link it just so you can get thinking about it early. Anyone else? Something you're excited about? Something you're dreading?
Well, to kind of bring things full circle on the show, we've experienced a lot of upheaval in the media space. I'm sort of both hopeful and dreading what's next for Pittsburgh media. there's an opportunity to fill some really cool gaps in coverage. I think we've got a lot of great talent in the city. So I'm kind of 50-50 on hopefulness and dread when it comes to the future of our field.
I'm excited. I'm devastated for what it means and the uncertainty and this, just all the feelings that are like an anxiety that's going to flood our industry and our friends. But I'm excited for what it means to lose the blocks, for them to just leave and what could come next.
From your lips to God's ears.
That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. Our music is by Aaron Taylor Waldman, Los Mocochetes, All the Kimonos, Carl Christensen, Five Dime Fellas, Joseph Resnack, and Benji, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. Mallory Falk is our executive producer. The show was produced this week by Sophia Lowe, Elizabeth Kama, and Noah Snyderman. Francesca DeBecco writes our newsletter, and I'm your host, Megan Harris. We will be back on Monday with more from around the city. Have a great weekend, y'all.
You know, like those places have infinite parking and
Kind
so
of. Like, I would actually argue those parking spots were teeny tiny.
they're tiny,
But they were something. They were a spot.